Welcome. We are in the process of understanding the data pre-processing and different methods used. In the previous video, in the data pre-processing, you understood the first one, data cleaning. So different methods you have seen how to do data cleaning. Then you have data reduction. That's what you are going to see basically in this. So there are in major three categories. Okay, data reduction by dimensionality reduction, numerosity reduction, and data compression. That we are going to see in the subsequent videos, one video for each. Then we have the next is data normalization. So again there are different methods here that we will learn. Then the data discretization. So there is one more step. So data integration. So that actually involves what? Data integrations will not cover here. So that is different topic. Data integration usually includes ETL, that is extract, transform, and load. There are some other concepts like building the schemas, different types of schemas, okay, for data warehousing, that we will see in the next chapter. They are part of data integration. Majorly in the data pre-processing, we are focusing on these 4 steps. So this is already we have completed. So we will start with the second step, that is data reduction. In that specifically we will see what is data reduction and what are the different techniques, and in depth the first one, that is dimensionality reduction, in this video. So now what is data reduction and why we need it? The data reduction means reduce the data. It may be in terms of the number of features or attributes, or it can be in terms of number of rows, data values. So for why we need it, see, large scale data sets can take enormous amount of time to process. Processing is a big challenge here. Data reduction techniques obtain a reduced representation of the data set that is much smaller in volume, yet yields the same or almost the same identical results. Okay. So if for example you have seen 1000 GB data can give me say 99% accuracy or the correct results. So I cannot process this 1000 GB because of the time and the resource utilization. So can I convert this to 10 GB, but still I get nearly 99% accuracy or correctness. Then I can use this 10 GB data. That is the concept of data reduction. So efficiency without sacrificing analytical integrity. So there are three types. One is dimensionality reduction, numerosity reduction, and then data compression. What is dimensionality reduction? See, if you see here, these are say your features x1, x2 up to xn. You reduce the number of features. Okay, that means fewer attributes. Reducing the number of attributes. That we call it as dimension. So each attribute is one dimension. So if there are 10 attributes or features, we say it is 10 dimensional data. So can you reduce it to 2 dimensional, 3 dimensional, or to only 3 attributes? Can I get the same result? That is dimensionality reduction. Numerosity reduction means there are a lot of rows, tuples data. Okay, can I reduce them? Can I reduce? Okay, there are 1 lakh rows. Can I do it using 10,000 rows? Okay. Data compression is it's not related to dimension or numerosity. It is about the entire data. Okay, there are some kind of data which can be compressed, like text data, okay, image data. All this can be encoded and then compressed in terms of size. So that is the data compression. So I already explained dimensionality reduction, removing irrelevant or redundant attributes. So different methods we use, Tabular transforms or principal component analysis. This is our data science. Usually learn about this. We have already learned about this in detail in the machine learning algorithms. I've given the link in the description. You can check it out. So in the here principal component analysis, so only major components, major principal axis will be selected. Okay. Simplifies the model and avoids the curse of dimensionality. So to avoid the curse of dimensionality, use principal component analysis. Then the numerosity reduction, replacing original data with smaller forms of representation. For example, parametric can use regressions. Non-parametric, you can use histogram, clustering, or sampling techniques. This is what we are going to see in our study, sampling and clustering. Then data compression can be of two types, lossless and lossy. The lossless means the original data can be perfectly reconstructed. Example for medical records. Lossy means approximation of original data. Example for multimedia, your songs or videos. There is some glitch. It is not fine, no problem, right? High volume sensor data. Essential for handling petabyte scale databases. Petabyte means like more than terabytes. So dimensionality reduction. So understand the first technique in that. In this video, dimensionality reduction. Dimensionality reduction is a process of reducing the number of random variables, you can say attributes or features. Okay, you can imagine number of attributes means number of columns, number of features in your data set. The primary approach for this we use is two things. One is PCA, primary component, principal component analysis, and attribute subset selection. We'll see already you know about this. What it does, it selects all those principal components which are high variance along that direction. Okay, please check out the video lecture on PCA, widely used method in dimensionality reduction. It's a linear method that transforms or projects the original data onto smaller space, preserving as much variance as possible. More of the data is preserved. The second one is attribute subset selection, a method that identifies and removes irrelevant, weakly relevant, or redundant attributes or dimensions from that data set. Okay. Principal component analysis you already know. So you project the data among the different eigenvalues, okay, in that order. So higher the eigenvalue, you project data along that eigenvalue eigenvector. You will get the maximum variance. So you arrange the data based on the eigenvalues. So higher the eigenvalue, higher the variance. That is the principal component. You can remove some of the components which are minimal. Okay. So that is the concept of PCA. So what it does, computes principal components. So it is orthogonal directions of maximum variance. All the directions will be orthogonal in PCA. Projects data onto top k components. This discarding the rest components. So if there are n features, n dimensions. So I will calculate say the eigenvalues for all of these. Okay, all of this. Then I will calculate the eigenvectors, that is the direction for all of these eigenvalues. See, and then say these are ordered like this, always greater than this. Okay, so that means this component, the vector along with this eigenvalue or in this direction has the maximum variance. That is the meaning. So this is the principal component. This is the second principal component like that. The last are having least eigenvalues. So they can be ignored. That is the concept of principal component analysis. That means out of this you select the k, top k, which is much less than n. Only k features are selected in this order, and each of these vectors are orthogonal to each other. So that will give me the non-overlapping directions of the data or the features which I have to select. K less than n means what? You are selecting small value of attributes or components. That's it. So it reduces the dimensionality. Information loss is controlled by choosing K such that retained variance is high, above 95%. So for example, say that a data set has 10 attributes: maths, physics, chemistry, biology, history, geography, English, computer science, economics, and physical education. If PCA finds the first two principal components explain 88% of the total variance. Okay. So mathematics and physics will give the 88% of the variance, for example, among the 10 attributes you have selected. Data projected from 10 dimensions to 2 dimensions. So I am selecting only these two because it explains, these two only explains me the 88% of the variance. That means what? So whatever result I am getting, because of these two attribute only, these two attribute only contribute for that 88% of the result. Rest all 10 together contribute to only 10%. That is the meaning. So I can just ignore them based on my study. So PC1 may represent science aptitude, PC2 may represent humanities aptitude. Okay. Benefit, measure storage gain and faster algorithm execution with minimal information loss. So this is how the PCA works. Technical method procedure I given in my video lecture in the machine learning series. Now we'll come to the attribute subset selection. This is a simple algorithm. It also reduces the data set by retaining only relevant attributes and removing redundant or irrelevant attributes. Irrelevant means no useful info for the mining task. Redundant means info already present in another attribute. So feature selection, why it is helpful? Because speeds up algorithms, learning algorithms, improves model performance by removing noise, produces simpler human readable model, prevents performance degradation, that is tries to remove curse of dimensionality. So there are different search strategies how you are going to select the attributes. So one is forward selection, backward selection, it can be bidirectional or using the decision tree concept. Again, decision trees explained in depth working how the information gain is calculated in the decision tree in my video lecture. I have pinned it in the comment also. Okay, so let's see how they work. So forward selection, you start with the empty set, add an attribute that improves the performance at each step. So there are say A1, A2 to AN attributes. I want to select each attribute, test each attribute, and then add it to the set. Initially start with empty. The second step, say A1, take A1. If A1 significantly improves your accuracy or performance, add it to A1. Now go to A2. If A2 doesn't add much, okay, to your accuracy, don't add. This is how it works, forward selection. Backward selection means you start with the full set. Okay. Then you go on removing those attributes which does not contribute much. So for example, A1 is retained. Now A2 will be removed because it is not contributing much. So that is backward selection. So for example, let us say these are the full set of attributes: age, income, zip code, gender, purchase history, and web clicks for the customer purchase prediction. In the first step, the forward selection logic, first you take a purchase history. If it gives the best accuracy, keep that. It is retained. Okay, this is retained. Then take the income attribute. It also improves accuracy. So you keep that also. Add age. So marginal gain. If you want, you can keep it. This also you are kept. Then zip code by gender. So you see that in our algorithm there is no change. There is no gain in the accuracy. So you just ignore them because they are not contributing. Okay. So this is how you select the attributes, that is subset. So from the main set you have selected the subset of the attributes. Similarly, backward elimination, you start with zip code. So accuracy still remains stable. There is no drop in the accuracy. So remove this zip code. Remove gender. Then even that removing the gender will keep your accuracy same or stable. So you remove that gender. Remove web clicks. Slight drop. Okay. So if you still want, if you don't want that, you can just drop, or if you want, you can retain it based on your accuracy adjustments. So you can also use the decision tree for attribute selection. The decision tree works based on the theory of information gain. So you can use two indexes there, Gini index and the Shannon's entropy. So check out my video lecture. So a simple concept and interesting concept. So you build a decision tree. Attributes used as nodes are relevant. Attributes not used for splitting are considered irrelevant. Okay, so decision tree works based on the splitting of the nodes based on the impurity it has. Okay. So for example, purchase history. Okay, and then you from the purchase histories you draw decision tree, income and age, two more nodes. Okay. Then you have check whether the node split occurs here. If you want, if there is more information gain, you select that, else you discard it. Similarly for age. So this is how the decision tree works. So a better example, for example, have attributes age, income, zip code, gender, purchase history, web clicks. So target is, will the customer buy, yes or no? Okay, so that is the decision tree, decision making, yes or no. Start with the purchase history, split this node. Okay, if they have high income, they have low or none income. Then you go for age, check for their age. If age is less than 35, again check their income. Okay, based on that you make a decision, yes, they will purchase or no. Similarly, if age is greater than 35, you made a decision, no, they will not purchase if the age is greater than 35. for your product. If the income is high, then based on the some value, say less than greater than 45k, less than something, you make a decision whether they'll purchase with this data. Okay, so that is how the decision tree works. Then you select the attributes, which attributes you want to keep. For example, purchase history, income, age, which are used in the split. See, purchase history, this node has been split because of the more information gain. Then income also has been split, age also has been split. So the nodes which splits are having more information. So you select those nodes or attributes. That is about the data preprocessing. In that you have seen the data reduction, in that dimensionality reduction. In the next video, the same hierarchy we will understand in the data reduction. Dimensionality reduction is done, we will see the numerosity reduction. What are different techniques for the numerosity reduction. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe.